Yo everyone, what is going on? Welcome to the video. So today I want to talk about the 3 golden rules of gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. And despite what some people say, this is possible, especially in those who are beginners in the gym. It is possible in those who are detrained, so someone who has taken a few months off the gym for one reason or another. And it is also very possible in those who are overweight to begin with. And if you don't fall within them categories, do not worry, you can still gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, but it just might happen at a bit of a slower rate. So let's get started on these rules. Okay, so first of all, let's focus on the fat loss part of gaining muscle and losing fat. And the golden rule when it comes to fat loss is that you need to put yourself in a calorie deficit. And for those of you who do not know what a calorie deficit is, it is when you burn more calories than you consume every single day. And the most effective way to put yourself in a calorie deficit is by exercising regularly, so you're burning more calories, and by consuming less calories through food and drink. So the gap between here, that is the calorie deficit. So if you track your calories, I recommend a 10 to 20% calorie deficit. So let's just say your calorie maintenance, which is another name for the calories you burn every single day. Let's just say that is 2,500 calories. Then consuming 2,000 calories every single day would be a 20% calorie deficit. And I find this 10 to 20% calorie deficit range is a really good balance between being sustainable, so you can keep the calorie deficit up for a long time without feeling like it's too hard, but it's also a decent enough calorie deficit that you can achieve fat loss at a decent rate. And if you don't track your calories, then I still recommend making the conscious effort to consume a little less calories on a daily basis. So for example, you could do this by decreasing the portion sizes of your meals. You could maybe skip an entire meal. You could swap from normal fizzy drinks to diet fizzy drinks. You could consume less junk food on a daily basis. You could order less takeaway. You could drink a little less alcohol, and just anything that drives the calories you're consuming on a daily and weekly basis in a downwards direction. Okay, so next up, let's move on to protein. And keeping your protein intake high during a cut is so important. So for example, let's just say your protein intake is low and you are in a calorie deficit at the same time. Well, then your muscles obviously won't be getting the protein that they need to repair and grow, because that is what protein is responsible for doing in your body, and hence your body is going to lose muscle as well as fat. So it is just so important to prioritize protein during a cut. So if you track your protein, then I recommend aiming to consume approximately 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight every single day. So for example, let's just say you weigh 80 kg, then a protein intake of 176 grams per day is what you should be aiming for. And if you do not track your protein, then I recommend ensuring that each of your main meals throughout the day has a big protein source. So for example, it might be 0% yogurt for breakfast, it could be tuna for lunch, it could be chicken for dinner, and as a snack you might have a protein shake or a protein bar. Okay, and lastly, let's move on to training. And to grow muscle, you need to make sure you are doing a few things consistently. And the first thing that you need to be doing is the main underlying mechanism of muscle growth, and that is making progress on your exercises in the gym. So, you know, if you're not going into the gym and aiming to make progress on your exercises in terms of maybe increasing the reps that you are doing at a certain weight or increasing the weight you are lifting, then your muscles are not going to receive the stimulus that they need to grow. So my best advice is to choose maybe 1 to 3 exercises per muscle group and aim to make progress on them over time. So for example, you might start off by doing 4 sets of 6 on 70 kg on squats, and then 6 weeks later you might be able to do 4 sets of 8 on 90 kg, and that is literally how you grow muscle. The second thing that I recommend when it comes to training is using weights that challenge you within the 6 to 12 rep range for the most part. So all things considered, this rep range is the most efficient for growing muscle, because first of all, we are using weights within this rep range that are heavy enough for significant muscle breakdown to occur, and also because the 6 to 12 rep range allows us to rack up a nice amount of volume per session. Whereas if we were to be, training within the 1 to 5 rep range, then we would be doing way less reps per session, and hence less muscle breakdown would occur. And lastly, when it comes to training, I strongly recommend setting up your program so you're hitting each of the muscle groups you really want to improve at least twice per week. And this is because that when we train a muscle, something called protein synthesis gets elevated in the muscle, and this is basically the creation of new protein in that muscle that leads to muscle growth. However, this only remains elevated for approximately 3 days before returning back to normal. So it makes sense to train that muscle group again later in the week so it experiences another spike in protein synthesis, and hence muscle growth is going to be quicker. And I'm not saying that you need to train every single muscle group twice per week, because you may not have the time, but for the muscle groups that you really care about, then find a way to get in that second session. Alright everyone, I'm gonna wrap the video up there, but before I do, let's recap on the 3 golden rules of gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. So rule number 1, get yourself into a calorie deficit. Rule number 2, keep your protein intake high. And rule number 3 has loads of mini rules, which include making progress on all of your lifts in the gym, training within the 6 to 12 rep range for the most part, and hitting the muscle groups that you really want to improve at least twice per week. And if you have any questions about the video, about gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time, if there's a particular topic that you want me to cover in an upcoming video, then make sure you comment below and let me know. So thank you for watching. Make sure you give the video a big thumbs up as well, and I'll see you in the next one.